audible? All right. Good afternoon, all of you. I welcome you all in this geography optional orientation class. Today we have the first class, and I hope that all of you must be in good health, and all of you will be gearing for your preparation. In this first class, I will introduce the subject, that is geography optional. I will tell you that what is the purpose of the particularly optional, how to move ahead in this optional preparation, what should be the strategy, what should be the approach, what to follow, what not to follow. So in this orientation class, I will discuss all these things. Now, before beginning, I would like to tell you that you should have clarity about the goal. Clarity about the goal, clarity about this program, objective about this program, this geography optional. So few things you need to keep in mind, and we will work in these whatever the time period we have, around 4 months, to achieve that target, achieve that goal. So what are the different objectives around which we will conduct our classes? The first target that you should keep in mind to score 300 plus marks. First and foremost objective. Try to write it somewhere where you are studying. Try to almost print it in your mind that this is the one of the most important objective to come to my class. So if you have come to my class, make it very clear that your first and foremost objective to score 300 plus mark. That is one of the important aspect, or you can say the key point to qualify this particular examination, because optional plays a very important role. The second most important thing that you need to keep in mind utilizing geography optional preparation to other aspect, other part of this preparation. So I am not going to talk about the importance, because you already have selected geography as an optional. So what are the different area where you will utilize your geography optional preparation? So the first and foremost, definitely you need to utilize in your prelims examination. You need to utilize in your mains examination. You need to utilize in your personality test, popularly referred as interview. So you need to use your geography optional, because if you have selected geography as an optional, so you have to prove that yes, it is useful for your whole preparation, the whole UPSC journey. So this is how you need to utilize the optional to other area. To be precise, in mains, you need to use it in your GS paper 1, GS paper 3. Of course, you will have overlapping in your GS paper 2 also. You will have a utility in your essay paper also. But primarily you need to have these 2 points in your mind, that you need to utilize your geography optional preparation to maximize the marks in that particular GS2 paper. These 2 aspects very important. Third aspect will help you in achieving these 2 aspects. What is the third aspect? Time bound completion of geography optional. That is the key. That is the most important key here. Time bound completion. And when we say time bound completion, of course, we will set a target of around 5 months, and we will definitely very easily, because it's a very smooth target, so not very much stretched one, so we will achieve this target very easily. But the point is, it should be a time bound completion, and in this time bound completion we need to efficiently complete this subject. When we say efficiently, we have a difference. We have a different from conventional completion, because when I am saying efficiently completion means you need to be efficient. You need to prepare it with minimum input and the maximum output. Because the nature of the subject is changing, and in this changing nature of the subject, you cannot go through with the same orientation that is being mostly taught in the school level, your college level. So that kind of preparation, that kind of study is different from this preparation of some of the competitive examination, especially UPSC. So here, efficient completion of the subject is very important. Now, why I am telling all these, that is not related to the our class or subject, because you need to be very much clear about it. You need to be clear about what is your program and why you have come to my class. What is the purpose of coming to my class? Because the purpose you are coming to my class is to qualify this examination. You need to very much clear. You are not here to learn the geography. You are not here to become the geographer. You are just here to efficiently use this subject to maximize your mark in optional. And the moment you will get maximum mark, more than 300, 310, 315, definitely it will uplift the total marks. Also, because geography is a subject which is heavily coinciding with other aspects, other areas of your GS syllabus, so definitely it will help out in your GS paper 1, that is related to the geography. GS paper 3, where you will need to cover the environment, you need to cover the disaster management. Then again you will have the prelims also you will have the geography and environment is a major portion. So you need to utilize your preparation so that overall your preparation looks like very much easy, simple. So you need to be very clear about it, because clarity is very important. You need to be very clear. You need not to be some kind of doubts in your mind, because if you will have doubt, then that will create a lot of problem. Most of the time you will see a student will take some of the optional and then read it, and then over the period of time they will say that this optional is not good, or there is a problem. So that problem is not the subject, any subject. It is their clarity. They are not have the clarity that what needs to be done, what I needs to be do. So when you are in my class, This one thing is very important, the clarity. Also, a lot of time you must have heard about that you need to be clarity of thought. So theoretically, clarity of the thought is important. But as far as this UPSC preparation is concerned, a very famous quote is very aptly suited for your clarity. It goes like this: so clarity comes from action, not the thought. So you need to very clear this part, action. That to achieve whatever I have written, of course you have clarity. Now you got a clarity that yes, I need to work in this optional to score 300 plus mark. I need to read it, I need to utilize this for your GS preparation. But if you will just think, you will just have knowledge, that is not of usefulness. That will be useful only when you will do something, when you will come into the action. You will try to achieve that particular goal. So the action is very important. You need to do. The second most important part, your whole preparation that we will follow in this 4.5 month, we will make it very simple. Because if you have come in my class, so definitely it is my responsibility to simplify the things. Because you will have the standard books, you will have so many freely available study material, you will have the floods of material. So you will have all the materials have flooded in your website, internet. But if you have come in my class, so definitely you will have some purpose. And the purpose is to particularly achieve this thing. And what is my responsibility? My responsibility is simply to make the things simple, to make this subject simple in such a manner that you can understood, you can learn this subject very simply. Because most of the time, in a student's mind, there will be a lot of perception related to geography. And most of this perception is based on what? This perception is based on the study they have done in particularly GS. Now at this point, I would also like to say that forget about your GS preparation. So we are not very much concerned about your GS preparation. We will take a different approach, a different strategy in your optional, and the same strategy, the same approach that you will apply in your optional, that will be inclusive of your GS. So generally what happens? Most of the time students prepare GS and then they will come to this optional. They will have this idea that yes, I have gone through this, I have gone through this. So definitely you have gone through, but your approach was different. Now what you need to do? You need to just do not use much of your knowledge of GS here. Here we will take it differently, and when we will cover it differently, in that process almost your GS preparation will be covered. So definitely your time that you are supposed to give in the GS preparation will be saved heavily. Almost your 50% of paper 1, more than 40% of paper 3 preparation will be automatically covered from your optional preparation. So the only thing for which you have joined is simply that I will make it simple. But it is also very important to understood it in advance that making things simple is not so simple. So the making things simple is not so simple. Simplicity doesn't mean that you have to leave some of the topics. You need not to cover the important topic, tough topics. No. We will cover the tough topic in such a manner that it will appear that it's a very simple, it's a so simple that it can be understood by a graduation first year student. So when we will deliver we will deliver any concept, we will try to simplify so that it will be easily understood to you. So the goal, the purpose of your preparation, you need to be very much clear. The second thing that, in fact, I have talked in first thing also, you need to very much clear that you are in optional preparation. So of course in the process you will learn the subject, but your main aim is not to become academician, but to qualify an exam. So to qualifying an examination, it is more or less like you need to be a prudent businessman. While preparing for optional, you need to be a prudent businessman. Just take a scenario. Let's say you are settling up some of the industry. So when you will set up the industry, what is your purpose? Your purpose is to just maximize the profit. Similarly, when you are taking an optional, UPSC is prescribing some optional and you are taking an optional, you have started preparing an optional, what is the purpose? To maximize the score. And maximization of the score will be different in your competitive examination from your academics. Generally in academics, what will happen? Let's say, take an example that you are having a graduation first year. So in graduation first year, if you will have a prescribed syllabus of geography, so let's say 5 students we have, so all the 5 students will read that particular concept. So if everyone got the concept correctly, and they will go and they will write an answer, so we have a probability that out of 100 marks, all of them will get 75, 76 or above 80. So definitely everyone will score 80%. And when you will score 80%, definitely everyone will say that you have a good clarity of the concept, you are a meritorious student. But here, in competitive examination, situation is completely different. Here, you have to, of course, you need to prepare, but through this preparation, you have to be best among your competitor. So if you will have 5 students, you have to score more than the other 4. Then you will get selected. Because here you will have the fixed number of seats. Competitive exam, it is not possible that every 5 student will selected as an IAS officer. So we have a limitation of the number of candidate, and because limitation, there will be utility of marks. So here comes your particular strategy. You should have a strategy, you should have a goal that why you are studying this, what is the purpose of studying this optional. So it should be very clear to you. You need to very clear about it, that what is the main purpose, the main idea, the main objective of this class, how you maximize this particular class to just achieve the one and only target, that is scoring more than 300 plus, and also utilizing geography for your GS preparation. Now we'll move to the next part of the discussion. Next part of the discussion is also very crucial. The next part of the discussion is related to the syllabus. UPSC have prescribed a syllabus, which you can get it from the UPSC website. Also, the syllabus has been shared with you, with brochure itself, with the study material itself. So we have the syllabus. Now most of the time, a student will have understanding, and that is very correct also to a student level, that they will just start preparing whatever is prescribed in the syllabus. Now I am saying it, the second discussion that I am going to have is comprehending the syllabus. What is this comprehending the syllabus? Understanding the syllabus. Now there will be a question in the minds of a student that syllabus has been prescribed. So what to understand in the syllabus? Just we need to take out a particular topic and we need to study. What is the rocket science that sir is saying we need to understand the syllabus? That is a very important thing that you need to understand. Whatever the syllabus that is being shared with you or it is being given on the UPSC website is the prescribed syllabus. It has been prescribed by UPSC. And the syllabus for which I am saying that you need to understand is simply contemporary syllabus. Now what is this contemporary syllabus? Most of the time a student will come across, whenever he will talk to you, some of the seniors, some of the selected candidates, so they will tell you, now UPSC is asking in geography some of the questions that is not mentioned in the syllabus itself. Is it really that UPSC is asking question that is not in part of geography syllabus? Or you haven't read the syllabus in such a manner that you were able to comprehend it? So the point is, UPSC has prescribed the syllabus and syllabus has been prescribed not in last 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. It has been prescribed almost in last 24, 25 years ago. So UPSC has prescribed the syllabus that has been designed almost 25 years ago, and in this 25 years time period we have so many changes happened in the subject itself. So whether the UPSC has included those part in their syllabus, the answer is no. The second part, whether the UPSC is sticking to the syllabus, again the answer is no. So one thing you need to be very much clear, that you need to comprehend the syllabus. And how you will comprehend the syllabus? Comprehending the syllabus will require understanding the nature of the subject, how the subject is changing, what are the major changes related to the subject is happening, whether it's related to the climate, whether it's related to the ocean, whether it's related to the land. So whatever the changes you will have in and around, that needs to be appreciated by the academician of that subject. So let's say you will have a geographer. So geographer is studying the ocean. So if you will have the problem of ocean acidification, you will have some of the problem of particularly your marine ecology destruction. So whether the marine ecology destruction due to ocean acidification is given or not in the syllabus, that doesn't matter to the geographer, because geographer will ask the question because it is very much relevant. Or let's say you will have the climatic problem, you will have the problem of climatic pollution, you will have atmospheric pollution. So if you will have atmospheric pollution is happening and the whole city, whole country is worried about it, so geographers will ask the question from that topic, and whether it is mentioned in the syllabus or not, that doesn't matter. If you will have the welfare geography is a new approach, positivism is a new approach, so definitely the question will be asked from that particular area. Whether that topic, subtopic is mentioned in the syllabus or not, that is not very much important. Also, there will be a lot of topics of the syllabus that become almost obsolete, of no use, and UPSC also have discarded that. But because the syllabus have designed some 20-25 years back, so still that topic is mentioned in your syllabus. So while I am saying comprehending the syllabus means simply understanding the topics and related subtopics. Also, understanding, appreciating the changing nature of subject and how the subject is affecting the mankind. That is the most important aspect. If you will talk about primarily for geography, it is the most important aspect that you need to understand how this subject is affecting human life primarily. So if there is any aspect of human life that is getting affected, definitely you need to include in your particularly topic. So might be that subtopic is not mentioned in the syllabus exclusively, but you need to go through it. Also, you will get to know a lot of contemporary part of the syllabus by just going through the previous year's question paper. If you will look out the previous year's question paper, then you will realize that subject have evolved. Subject have changed its perspective. And if the subject have changed this perspective, so you also need to change your perspective. Not just try to understand. Before 2013, there were 60 marker question, there were 30 marker question, then you will have 60 marker question have just removed, then you will have 30 marker question and some 15 marker question, then 30 marker question have also removed. Now we will have 10 marker question in short answer and 20 and 15 marker question in your other answer. But whether the syllabus have changed? No. Syllabus have not been changed, but still the pattern, the nature of the subject is changing. And when the nature of the subject is changing, you also need to change your perspective of preparation. But most of the time what will happen? It is related to the available material, available books of geography. That is also to be some extent needs to be blamed. Because their orientation have not changed. And why their orientation have not changed? Because those books, most of the time you refer, is not been written for the UPSC. That has been written for the academics purpose. So somebody is doing masters in geography, somebody is doing research in geography, PhD in geography, somebody is doing graduation in geography. So that is being written for those students. So their perspective will be different. But here your perspective should be based on this contemporary part. Not just try to understand how you will utilize it, how it will be visible in your preparation. When I am saying comprehending the syllabus, there should be some utility, because in the first hand itself, I told you that clarity is important, but clarity have some utility when you will have some action. So you just got to know that yes, we need to understand the changing syllabus, but what is the utility of understanding the changing syllabus? Whether we just need to understand that yes, syllabus is changing, your nature of the syllabus is changing, or you need to do something to handle that changing nature of the syllabus. So how we will do, what we will do different, not just try to understand. Every optional in UPSC have been given 500 marks in your mains examination. Geography is also of 500 marks. It has been divided into paper. Paper 1, paper 2. Both the paper will be of 250 marks. Now, how UPSC is prescribing? UPSC is prescribing for geography optional the syllabus. Paper 1 they call it as Principles of Geography. Paper 2 Geography of India. Principles of Geography and Geography of India. Because paper 2 is Geography of India, so popularly paper 1 is also referred as World Geography. So I am just first enumerating that what UPSC has prescribed. UPSC has prescribed paper 1 and paper 2. Now in paper 1, they have divided the paper 1 in two sections, two parts. So we have the part 1 and we have part 2. In part 1, they have 5 chapters. So 5 chapters. Chapter number 1, Geomorphology. Chapter number 2, Climatology. Chapter number 3, Oceanography. Chapter number 4, Biogeography. Chapter number 5, Environmental Geography. So part 1, 5 chapter, Geomorphology, Climatology, Oceanography, Biogeography, Environmental Geography. Part 2, can we write on here? Part 2, this is part 1, and part 1 they are writing Physical Geography. Physical Geography. So Physical Geography comprised of Geomorphology, Climatology, Oceanography, Biogeography, Environmental Geography. Part 2, they have simply written Human Geography. Under this Human Geography, again they have mentioned 5 chapters. So chapter number 6, Perspective in Human Geography. Perspective in Human Geography. Chapter number 7, Economic Geography. Chapter 8, Population and Settlement. Chapter 9, Regional Planning. Chapter 10, Models, Theories and Laws in Human Geography. So again I will read out for you. Chapter number 6, Perspective in Human Geography. Chapter 7, Economic Geography. Chapter 8, Population and Settlement. 9, Regional Development. 10, Models, Theories, Laws in Human Geography. Now almost UPSC follows the same syllabus pattern in question paper also. Question paper will be divided in two sections, section A, section 2, and section A, section B. And in section A, the questions from physical geography will be asked, and in section B, questions from human geography will be asked. Generally, in examination, some of the those who are new students, so might be they are not aware of it. So in the examination, you are supposed to answer 5 questions. First and fifth question will be compulsory, so you need to cover rest 3 questions. At least you need to attempt 1 question from each section. So at best, you can do 3 questions from section 1. At best. So you need to understand that if you will try to quantify it, so it is a syllabus, part 1 physical geography, part 2 human geography. Now if you will go with maximum attempt, that is you are attempting 3 questions from part 1, then also your part 1, that is physical geography of paper 1, will be of maximum 150 marks. So paper 1, that is of 250 marks. In this we will have 2 sections, 2 parts. Physical geography comprising of 5 chapters, and human geography comprise of 5 chapters. So by simple understanding, it should be 125, but at max in examination it can give you 150 marks if you will attempt 3 questions from part 1 section A. So in that case it will be 100 marks. Alright. Now come to the paper 2. Paper 2 is also of 250 marks. But in paper 2, what will happen? They haven't divided it in 2 sections. They haven't divided in physical or human. Of course, we have a clear demarcation. But the syllabus that UPSC has prescribed, they haven't demarcated or divided in cultural geography and physical geography, in human and economic and your physical geography. So here also we have 10 chapters. Chapter number 1, physical settings. Chapter number 2, resources. Chapter number 3, agriculture. Chapter number 4, industry. Chapter number 5, transport, communication and trade. Chapter number 6, cultural setting. Chapter number 7, settlement. Chapter number 8, regional development and planning, RDP. Chapter number 9, political aspects. And chapter number 10, particularly contemporary issues. So we have 10 chapters. Chapters on agriculture, industry, transport, communication, trade, cultural setting, settlement, regional development and planning, political aspect, contemporary issues. Now just try to understand. Again this will be of 250 marks. Again this will be of 250 marks. Now just tell me. Of course, the nature of the subject is something, the nature of the subject is something that the concept building will be based on these two, physical and geography and human geography. Here in this part, you will have more or less applied thing will be done. But if, let's say, you are having 4.5 month, you are having 4.5 month preparation, and if you will prepare 2 months for physical geography, 1 month for human geography, then what will be the time left for this preparation of paper 2? That is where most of the study material, most of the students misses these things. They never appreciate this thing, because ultimately UPSC is not governed by your kind of study or how you are studying. UPSC will follow their pattern, and the pattern is very simple, very clear. They will ask 250 marks question in paper 1, 250 marks question in paper 2. Paper 1, you will have the physical geography, maximum you can have 150 marks question, and in human you will have 100. And again in paper 2 you will have the same pattern, physical, human, but mostly cultural part will be in section A also. So here you will not have the clear distinction. But the point that I am trying to make you understand, that your preparation should be according to the demand of particularly subject, demand of this UPSC examination. Your preparation should not be according to the demand of geography as studied in colleges, in academics. The study of geography in academics will be different. Here, the study of geography needs to be channelized according to the demand of the particularly your optional paper. If you will fulfill that demand, if you will prepare your geography preparation according to the demand, then you will see the changes. You will see the changes in the form of more marks, high marks. Otherwise, if you will try to prepare it conventionally, and then you will expect that I will get good marks, that is not possible. How it is possible? Now just try to understand. Somebody has prepared geography as an optional, let's say, and the design of the classroom was around 4.5 months, and if he has just studied around 3.5 months human, this particular physical and human geography, and then it will be like this, that these topics need not to be done. These topics you can do it by yourself. So if these topics you can do it by yourself, so why cannot you can do these topics by yourself? These topics can also be done. The student can also done these topics. There is no rocket science in understanding the plate tectonic theory, in understanding the landform development, the understanding of the idea of William Morris Davis or Walter Penck. That also can be done by the student. So the point what I am trying to make you understand, that you need to prepare the subject according to the demand. So my classroom program is based on the demand. I am not going to teach you physical geography, human geography for 3.5 months and just teaching you the physical setting and agriculture and resources, and then leave you that cultural setting, settlement, RDP, political aspect, contemporary issues, nothing to teach. No. In fact, you need to understand the nature of the subject has changed. And these are the scoring part. Even in paper 1 also, if you will write 3 questions from your part 1, that is your physical geography, then the chances of getting average marks will increases. But if you will write 3 questions from your human geography, so definitely the chances of more marks will be there. So the student who will write 3 questions from human geography and 2 from your physical geography, he will able to score around 140, 150. And here in case of geography India, it's a very scoring if you will able to understand the demand of the subject. But merely understanding the agricultural productivity, the cropping pattern, or the location of the industry, or simply understanding the population pattern, the settlement pattern, the classification of different your cities, urban area is not going to help out. You need to understand the subject, you need to understand the approach, and then you need to present it with some of the case studies, some of the example. So scope of example is very high in case of paper 2 and in case of human geography. And whenever there will be a scope of presenting examples, a scope of giving some case study, the moment you will have chances of scoring very high. So because of that, if you will follow the pattern, the changing pattern, it is very easy to score 160, 170 in your paper 2. Paper 1 will have some limitation. And why the paper 1 will have some limitation of 150, 155, 60? Because here you will have the physical geography part. Ultimately you have to attempt 2 questions from your physical geography part. And here there will be a more or less equal marking among the student who is having good idea, good understanding. Now that is something which I will talk about while discussing the answer writing. At this moment it is not very much necessary, but what you need to understand that our program should be such that it should be equally divided. We cannot have liberty of ignoring some part. So our program, our classroom program is not based on some disproportionate time management. Now just recall the 3 goals that I have said. The third part, that is your time bound completion, but also efficient time bound completion. So what we will do, we have paper 1. We have paper 1, that is physical and human geography. Paper 2, that is India geography. So we will invest around 1.5 month in physical geography, around 1 month in human geography, around 2 months in geography of India. So we are not going to leave this geography of India and will say we will not cover. It is not like that we are not going to cover the topic like political aspect, geographical basis of Indian federalism, the Indian Ocean Real. It is not like that I will say that you can read it from IER. If it should be read from IER, then definitely the question should not be asked in geography. And if they are asking the question in geography, so there will be some purpose. Now the questions from society, questions from the tribes, question from the cultural setting, if they are asking continuously question, it means they wanted you to read that topic. सो हम ऐसा नहीं कह सकते कि नहीं आप इसको तो सोसाइटी में पढ़ लेना, सोशल इश्यूज में पढ़ लेना, सोशियोलॉजी का टॉपिक है, इसको यहाँ क्यों पढ़ोगे? सो द पॉइंट इज दैट एवरी टॉपिक हैव इंपॉर्टेंस एंड द पेपर 2 is key to scoring good marks. Paper 2 and human geography. In the changing dynamics of last 3 to 4 years, the students who have good understanding of human geography and India geography will score well, and the student who is having good conceptual clarity related to the physical geography. And it is also very interesting, especially from a student's perspective. The moment he will study the physical geography, and most of the physical geography topics coincides with the GS portion. So because he has prepared GS and he has some kind of understanding that I have idea about this topic. So by just covering the physical geography, he or she thinks that I have completed the host geography optional. And then with the same kind of misnomer, they will go and they will appear in the examination. And definitely, if you have properly prepared only of 150 marks or 200 marks, then how you can expect that you will get 270, 280? That is not possible. You haven't prepared the cultural setting, you haven't prepared the political aspect, you haven't prepared the regional development planning. You don't know what is the classification of the rural area, what is the classification of the urban area, what is rural-urban fringe, what is conurbation, what is optimum population, overpopulation. So if you are not having the idea of human geography aspect, definitely you will not get good marks. So the point that I wanted to make it, that we need to give equal amount of time. We are not going to waste our time in reading some of the obsolete topics merely because it is being taught somewhere. No, I am not going to do that. I will stick to only one target, and that target I have given you to just help you out in scoring more than 300 marks. Now, as I said, the nature of the subject is changing. In this changing nature of the subject, the pattern of the preparation also you need to understand. What should be the pattern of preparation? Because when you read subject in your GS, so in GS you will come across plenty of the subject. Some of the subject you will like it, and once you will like that particular subject, you will take as optional. But optional and GS is completely different domain. So what is the difference between the GS and optional? That will be based on the understanding of the pattern of subject, that what is the demand of the subject. Your preparation should be based on the demand. So what is the demand of the subject, you need to understand. Now, I am saying it as a general pattern of preparation. The first thing in geography preparation is point number 1. Understanding the basics. First, you need to understand the basics. That is also very tricky, because sometimes what happens, students will face difficulty in identifying that what is basics, because UPSC have given some syllabus, and in syllabus, let's say geomorphology, so they will start the topic which might be not be associated with the basics, but a student It is not any mistake of a student. A student definitely will start from the first topic. He will feel that if this topic has been mentioned as the first topic, so definitely we need to go and we need to study that first topic. No. First you need to understand the basic. Now what constitute the basics? What could be said to be a basics? Basics is your introduction. Basic is based on facts. Basic is based on information. Basics is based on knowing places, identifying locations, understanding continents, understanding the oceans. So when you locate the oceans, when you locate the continents, mountains, rivers, islands, glaciers, deserts, strait, so that is your part of your basics. That is your part of basics. Once you will have some understanding of the basic, then you can move to the next part, that is understanding the concept. Now just take a very easy to understand example. When we will start lithosphere, in lithosphere when you will be taught in your GS classes, so mostly the discussion will start from the understanding the interior structure of the earth. So you will get to know the interior structure of the earth. We have the three different layers. We have the crust, mantle and core. Then you will also learn rocks, mostly the earth made up of. So you will get to know some of the basics of the rocks. Then you will get to know about the particularly some of the phenomena like your folding, faulting, earthquake, volcanoes. So you will come across all these. So when you are reading folding, faulting, rocks, earth interiors, that is your part of your understanding the basics. So you are understanding the basics. Understanding the basics of geography. Even when you will read the climate, so in the climate the discussion will be started from the particularly your atmosphere, composition of atmosphere, structure of atmosphere, then temperature, pressure, similarly density. Similarly, when the discussion of the ocean will be started, then you will have the ocean bottom topography, salinity, discussion of temperature. Similarly, let's say if I am starting discussion of some of the population, so the topics like some of the demography, what is demography, demographic attributes, some of the attributes like aging, like sex ratio, density, all these constitute the first thing, that is understanding the basics. Now the second thing that is important is understanding the concept. What constitute the concept? Concept is mostly your theories, phenomena, ideas, proposition. So when you are understanding Weber's idea of industrial location, so you are not doing the first part, you are moving to the second part. तो आपको, let's say we are starting with the industrial location theory of Weber, so it will be very difficult for a new student to understand, or might be he will be able to understand, but it is the wrong process. Ultimately it will affect your whole preparation. Preparation should be sequential. You should move in sequential manner, step by step movement. So first You will start with your basics, then you will move to your concept. So come back to that simple explanation. So you have understood the rock, you have understood the interior structure of the earth, you have understood where some of the mountains are located. Now you will go through the plate tectonic theory. Now you will go through the sea floor spreading concept. While going through these sea floor spreading concept, plate tectonic theory, you will get to know some of the phenomena. So that will be your understanding the concept. But simply understanding the concept is not going to help you out. Ultimately, what you need to do, the most important part, the third part, linkages of concepts with basics. So you can say the interlinking of 2 and 1. You have got the idea of basic idea of the geography, basic terminology of the geography. Then you have moved to the concept theory building, and then you have to interlink it. Now, you know what is the, you have seen some of the mountain, you have demarcated some of the mountain, you have demarcated some of the earthquake volcano. Also, you have gone through and studied the plate tectonic theory and particularly your sea floor spreading. Now it is the time to interlink it. Now it is the time to interlink that how this volcanic eruption is happening, how the earthquake is happening, why you will have the mountain is present at the place where it is present, how that mountain have been formed. So the interlinking you need to do, and interlinking will be based on the concepts and basics. Similarly, let's say you are studying the concept of population. So you have got through some of the demographic attributes. Now you will see in some area, in some country, the population is more high population, some area you will have less population, or what are the simply these population, high density, the reason behind this, or what could be some of the problems associated with. So let's say, if I'll give you a topic, problems of pollution in the developing countries. So definitely I am sure that most of the students that have been preparing in this UPSC, whether they have the geography optional or not, they will have something to write. They will have something to write. But if the question is being asked in geography optional, do you think the examiner is expecting to just go and write something? Examiner is not expecting that. What examiner is expecting? Examiner is expecting you to write the problems of population in the developing countries with respect to some of the theories, with respect to a geographer's perspective. So you need to bring the discussion of optimum population, overpopulation, linkages of the resource with the population, linkages of the population with migration, linkages of the population with urbanization, linkages of the population with your Malthus theory, your Marx theory, your demographic transition theory. So you need to have linkages. Until unless you will be able to do the linkages, it will be very difficult to score good marks, and also it will be very difficult for you to present your answer as a good answer, because it is more or less, it is very much correct also that it is not you that are communicating with the examiner, but it is your answers that is communicating with the examiner. So your answer should have all the ingredients. You need to communicate with the examiner that yes, you have the content, you have the concept, but also you have the linkages of the concept with the basics. Now, as I have already said that you will have different part of the syllabus. You will have paper 1, physical geography, human geography, paper 2, your India geography. Most of your physical geography preparation will follow this pattern. So first we need to understand the concept. We'll start with the concept, then we'll move to the basics, then concept, then we'll move to the linkages of the concept with basics. But in case of human geography especially, and geography of India, the last part is very crucial, very important. Here, the fourth part will come into the picture, and that is applied, application. Approach. What is the approach? Definitely we will deal it in elaborately, but just try to understand that the last step of your preparation is to developing approach, understanding the application, understanding the applied aspect. So simply knowing that you will have the some of the locational theories in human geography, simply reading the Christoller's idea, Loesch idea, simply reading the idea of von Thunen, idea of Weber, will not be sufficient to get good marks. You will get good marks when you will have the perspective to make it applied, make it work as a application. Now just try to understand. If the question will be asked that nowadays, after the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, most of the manufacturing industries are trying to go out of China. So there is a shifting of the industry. So some of the industries are trying out moving out of the China, and there lies a lot of opportunity for the countries like India. And you must be hearing a lot of news where states like UP, states like some other developing state, they are trying to attract the investor, industrialist. So that is purely a, you can say, commercial things, business perspective. But as a geography student, you need to understand the application. So if a manufacturing industry is moving out of China and is coming to India, what are the simply application of some of the concept that you have learned? Whether there is any utility of that, what Alfred Weber, what your Huber, what Smith have talked about industrial location, is that industrial location has any relevance in this? Because simply if the industry will come to and it will be settling up in UP, and after few days it is moving out of UP, after few years it is moving up out of UP, after let's say decades it is moving out of UP, then it is of no use, because when the industry will come, there will be a lots of other effect also. So you need to appreciate it geographically. It should not be simply a knee-jerk reaction that yes, some of the industry is trying to come out of China and UP will attract, and then industry will come and then it will flourish. It is not necessary. Every time also you need to understand. That is where your geography will come. Your geographical understanding will come. Simply settling up of an industry will never gives you a guarantee that that region will have development. The idea of the regional development, the knowledge of the regional development will come into the picture. Most of the heavy industries have been set up in our country itself after the independence in the central part of our country. But whether those central part of central part of our state like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, whether these are the most developed state, the answer is no. So simply settling up of industry is not going to be giving you guarantee of development. And how you will get to know? When you will have this part, application part, applied part, approach. So whenever you will study any kind of theory, any kind of topic, you need to very much clear that how you will study. That's why when we will start this subject, when we will start this geography optional, we are not going to move to this aspect until unless you will have some understanding. So first of all, our job is to develop some of the understanding. How? We will do it through understanding the basic. Also here, we will take utility, help of a very important thing. So here heavily we will use the maps, diagrams, drawings, flow chart. In fact, map is inclusive of it, but atlas work. Understanding the subject, giving you some kind of feeling, giving you some kind of familiarization with the subject. So you will be, over the period of time, you will get familiarized with the subject. And the moment you will get familiarized with the subject, we will bring the discussion of the concepts. So जैसे ही लगेगा कि आपका कुछ अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो गया है, आपको ज्योग्राफी फ्लो बन रहा है, you are learning geography and you are feeling that yes, now I can think like a geographer. So the moment we will bring the idea of concept. And once you will able to understand the concept, so you need to very much clear. First, we will learn the basics independently. We will learn the concept independently. दोनों अलग अलग पढ़ेंगे. And then we will merge. Then we will interlink the concepts and basic. तो हम कोई भी यूनिट शुरू करेंगे. Let's say I will start with the population and settlement. Chapter number 7 in your paper 1. So chapter number 7 से हम लोग शुरू करेंगे population and settlement. So in population and settlement, I will talk about the understanding of the basics. Then I will, over the period of time, I will introduce this concept. And in the end, when almost we will be in the middle of completion of the unit, then we'll bring the discussion of linkage of concept with basics. And once the whole unit will be completed, then we'll bring the discussion of approaches. Then we'll bring the discussion of application. Then we'll bring the discussion of applied part. So this is how we will proceed. This is how we will proceed in our preparation. Now in the first hand itself, I would like to tell you the changing nature of the subject. Most of the time, the student will have lots of confusion, misconception, myths related to whether the geography is static subject or whether the geography is contemporary or current related subject. Now most of the time student misinterpreted. As I said, most of the student will always go through with the flow. They even don't bother to check out the syllabus every time. and they will say that most of the questions were of general in nature, most of the questions were from current affair, so how to deal it. Now in geography they are asking so many current related questions, so many GS related questions. They fail to understand that here is you will have a subject where in paper 2, that is Geography of India, you will have 9 chapters. So 9 chapter is given, and the 10th chapter, just read out the 10th chapter. So 10th chapter itself says contemporary issues. So this is a kind of syllabus where UPSC is telling you that you need to prepare the current affair, you need to prepare the contemporary issues. So why you are blaming? And when UPSC is asking you to prepare the contemporary issues in geography optional, so definitely that should be different from the general current affairs. But most of the time students fail to understand. Their orientation of preparation of current affair is same. They always try to prepare in that pattern only. How they used to prepare other part of the syllabus of current affairs. Geographical contemporary issues or current affairs should be different. When you will prepare any issue, any topic, that particular topic you will prepare. You will prepare it how you are preparing in the particular current affair. But the third and fourth part of the pattern discussion that I have done, first thing understanding the basic, then understanding the concept, and then interlinkages of the concept with the basic. So that third part and fourth part, that is applied application, it should be integrated with this current affair preparation. So if you are preparing current affair, your orientation should be based on geographical approach. और जब तक आप geographical approach से नहीं लिखेंगे, how the examiner will get to understand that yes, your understanding is geographical? It will be more or less looks, if you will like it simply how you are writing the answer in your GS paper, so definitely you will get the marks like how you will get in your GS paper. If you want to get good marks in your optional, so definitely you need to make your answer geographically related, based on geographical approach. So that you need to do it, and definitely we will learn all these things. So our purpose is not simply just reading the concept, defining the concept, understanding the concept and just go out. No, our purpose is to do all these things in this coming 4.5 months. You need to do it, you need to be very much active in that, because it is not a one-way process. You need to do a lot of exercise, you need to give your 100%. Also, I would like to tell you that it is better to give whatever you have in just 4.5 months, and then just prepare for your prelims, and once you will qualify the prelims, go and write the mains, and in one go you will get good marks, you will get selected. Rather than simply just preparing it for the sake of preparation, you are just preparing the subject without knowing that what is being asked, what is the pattern that you need to follow, what UPSC expects actually, and ultimately you will make it as a 5-year plan. So don't make it as a 5-year plan, just try to prepare it hard in one go. Also, this COVID-19 have given you a lot of opportunity also. Now you will have an opportunity to sit at your own place. You need not to worry about the foods, you need not to worry about the transport, the time wastage, and all those things can be saved. Now you have almost every time with you, and the only thing that you need to do is hard work. So just do hard work and just follow the class, the instruction that will be given in the class, and just with the class itself, you will see that whole of your syllabus that is required will be covered in the class itself. Now just briefly, quickly, I will tell you that what is the nature in last few years. Generally, I am talking about 4-5 years before. So 5 years earlier, around 80% questions being asked from static, 20% question were being asked from the contemporary. So उसमें भी जो 20% आता था, तो कई बार ऑप्शनल में यू विल हैव ए ऑप्शन. ये एक पहला तो ये ऑप्शनल है, और इस ऑप्शनल में भी ऑप्शन रहता है आपका. जीएस में ऑप्शन नहीं रहता. सो जब आपको ऑप्शन मिलता है तो डेफिनेटली यू कैन बाईपास सम ऑफ द क्वेश्चन. सो अगेन लेट्स से 20% आपका कंटेम्प्रेरी आया था, लेकिन आपने कुछ एक क्वेश्चन यहां निकाल दिया, तो अल्टीमेटली 90% इज स्टैटिक. And when you will have the 90% static and everyone is writing static portion, so most of the marking will be same, so there will be only difference of 10-15 marks, and that will not be very much effective. But when the nature of the subject is changing, now just try to understand, almost 60% is static and 40% is contemporary. So here, when the paper was of 300 marks, or let's say I am talking only for the 500 marks, most of the students were getting marks in the range of 270, 280 general mark, and people who are not well versed, they will get 230, 240. So there will not be much difference in the mark among the geography optional student. But when your paper is becoming more and more contemporary oriented, so what will happen? Some of the student will score 310, 320. Some of the student will score 170, 180. Why this is happening? Is it because that particular student have idea about subject, or the subject is wrong? There is no wrong, there is nothing bad about the subject. The only thing which the students are failing to understand, that in this changing dynamics, in this changing pattern, you also need to change your preparation. If you will not change your preparation, definitely the marks will not improve. If you can see, then from here one thing also very clear, which I wanted to tell you initially, that when the question of contemporary current issue based is being asked, then you have option to score well, to score more. And why you will have option? Because most of the time contemporary issues question, most of the time, definitely you will have some question will be based in physical geography also, but most of the time your human geography part is very contemporary in nature. And in human geography, always you will have a scope of giving lots of examples, case study. So let's say the question is being asked for the organic farming. So while explaining the organic farming, what are the pros, what are the cons, you can give some of the examples. Let's say you will have the Andaman and Nicobar, you will have the palm cultivation is happening, you will have Sikkim, which is one of the first organic states. So you can have option to give the examples case study, and the moment you will give examples as a case study, definitely your marks will be more, you will get more marks. That is why your human geography is key to your getting good marks. If you are very good in your human geography and you will prepare your human geography well, definitely you will get good marks. But also just keep in mind that it is also not very much suitable for you to just ignore the physical geography and read the human geography and will expect that yes, I will score very good mark. No. Human geography is important. Human geography, there is a lot of scope of giving examples, bringing case study, bringing regional perspective, regional approach. But the basic idea about the geography you will get from your physical geography only. So the physical geography is important to concept building, the overall holistic theory building in geography, but to get good marks you need to focus more and more on particularly human geography. Now quickly I will tell you some of the reference, some of the other material that you need to have with you with the class itself. First thing that you need to have is class 6 to class 12th geography NCERT. So I am assuming that all of you must be having this, and I also expect from all of you that you must have completed this class 6 to 12th NCERT, the general reading. Other than this, I am also expecting that you will be having atlas. But if you are not having the atlas, try to get it as soon as possible. You need to have 2 atlas, Orient Black Swan Atlas and Oxford Atlas, and both the atlas should be school atlas you need to have. Other than these two, we have the plenty of books. That will be only reference book. That is not the book that mandatorily you need to study. When I am saying reference book, so you need to very much clear. Reference book is only for the referring something. So let's say one of the topic that we have discussed in the class, you will be given the class note, the study material. But if you want to read something extra, something else, so for that only you required some additional reference material. Other than this, you are not supposed to read the reference book from cover to cover. So some of the book, I am referring it as a reference book for the class which will start from, we are covering, and I am going to start, as I said earlier also, I will start with the population and settlement geography. So I am telling only the book which is suitable for that population and settlement geography. You need to arrange for 2 books. Human geography. So human geography book by Majid Hussain, and also you will have books models and theories. So models and theories in geography, again by the same writer, Majid Hussain. Other than this, these 2 you need to mandatorily purchase. Also sometimes a student feel that if you have joined the classes, so there is no utility of purchasing the books. But as I always used to say, that books are always give you some kind of enlightenment. Definitely might be they are not able to help you out in changing the approach, understanding the new approach, but definitely they will help you out in overall concept building. So you need to have a book. And even I will, most of the time I will expect from my students that they should read some of the chapters, some of the paragraph before coming to the class. So Human Geography by Majid Hussain, mandatorily you should have. Models, Theories in Geography by Majid Hussain, mandatorily you should have. Other than this, if you can get, then try to get Human Geography Dictionary. Human Geography Dictionary you will find either by Penguin publication or by Oxford publication. So any publications which is available in your area, in your nearby, try to get it. Also Rupa Made Simple series, Human and Economic. So it is part 2. First part is of Physical Geography. These two are optional. These two are not necessary, mandatory, but this is something which you need to have. Atlas and these books are necessary. Atlas, you need to very much clear from your starting itself. Atlas work or map work we will do simultaneously in the class itself. Generally map based question is being asked in paper 2. Now almost from last 8-9 years there will not be the map based question in paper 1. So when there is no map based question in paper 1, it doesn't mean that you need not do the map work, atlas work for the world perspective, because as I said, the first point of your pattern was understanding the basics. So you will able to understand the basic by doing the map work. So map work हम लोग बहुत करेंगे, atlas work हम लोग बहुत करेंगे, and it is expected from you that you need to have the atlas. How to maximize the map work, or how we need to do the map work, how we need to efficiently utilize the atlas, that we will learn in over the period of time. So if any student who is not comfortable that how to utilize the map, how best to utilize the map, or I haven't done the atlas work, you need not to worry for that. We will take care of it. How it should be utilized or how it should be best utilized, that we will take care of. You just need to have atlas, you need to have these books, and while attending the class. So these are some of the basic idea related to the class, and class timing is 12 to 3. So it is very much clear to you. There should not be any doubt about it. So today, as it is the first class, so I will stop at here only, and from Monday we will start fresh with the population and settlement. So hope to see you again on Monday. Till then, thank you.